there is an ill wind blowing over Punjab, that we know, because in this weekend, during this weekend, last weekend, in less than 48 hours, we saw 2 mob lynchings or 2 killings by lynching by angry people at Gurdwaras. And these lynchings were carried out on the grounds that the person, the victim of lynching in this case, was guilty of causing sacrilege at the Gurdwara. So the first one was at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, that is the holiest of the holies as far as the Sikh faith is concerned, and also people of different faiths go there. Hindus go there, Muslims also go there. People of all faiths go there and also pay obeisance there. The Christians go there. It's one of the favorite religious places of all faiths in our country and in fact the world over. So you can see a young man still unidentified jumping over the railing and entering the enclosure where the holy Guru Granth Sahib is kept. And that's where the priests sit. And then it looks like he goes and picks up the holy Kirpan lying there. Now what he's intending to do, we don't know, but the suspicion is that he was picking up that Kirpan to maybe try and cause damage to the holy Guru Granth Sahib. Now in Sikhism, the Guru Granth Sahib is considered a living Guru, not just a book. The last Sikh Guru, that is Guru Gobind Singh, had said that after me, the Granth will be the Guru. Guru Maniyo Granth. In fact, in the 70s, early 70s, there was a very famous and very big hit, a super hit Punjabi film titled Guru Maniyo Granth. So he had said this. Since then, the Sikhs have the belief that the Granth is a living being, that the Guru Granth Sahib is a living being, and to cause any damage to it is like causing damage to a living Guru. So these people got angry, they beat him up, they took him in their custody, that is the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee people, and beat him to death. So his body, sort of beaten to pulp, was handed over to the police. That was a very unfortunate event. Now the important thing there is that nobody knows the man's antecedents or his name or identity. And you can see there is a lot of evidence to say that the man did not want to betray his identity because there is no paperwork, no paper of any kind in his pockets anywhere, not a ticket, nothing. There is not a wallet, there is not an iCard, nothing. There is not a scrap of paper. In fact, even on the clothes found on his body, there is not even the mark of a tailor, like saying, say, such and such tailor in Muktsar. So at least you can go to the tailor and ask if a man who looked like this ever got something stitched with you. So nothing. So obviously, he's taken care that nobody will figure out who he is. So it does look like it was some kind of a suicide mission, but more will be found out. My colleague Chitlin Sethi, who's the best informed by far journalist in Chandigarh and knows also Sikh religious history very well, has access to a lot of scholars she's spoken to. She tells me that police now thinks that the only hope is, because they've taken the fingerprints, biometrics from the body, they will match it, say, with the Aadhaar database and see if that throws up something. That is, if this man has ever taken an Aadhaar card or he's entered his biometrics on any of the national databases. So that is being checked out. Otherwise, it's a blind situation. We are in a blind alley. We don't know what exactly happened. The second incident at Kapurthala is substantively different. There it looks like the priest thinks that late night somebody tried to enter the Gurdwara. Now the motive may have been theft, right? And then when challenged, he ran away and he was chased and power went out. It's a bit dramatic. And then he was caught and he was beaten. And as he was being beaten, a police post, which is next door to the Gurdwara, police found out that such a thing had happened and police came in and police camped outside the Gurdwara and kept on pleading and begging with the people at the Gurdwara to hand over this man to them, or so-called offender to them, or the alleged offender to them. But they said, no, we will not do it, because anytime we hand over these people to the police, they are let off on the ground of insanity. So we don't believe it. So they wanted to only hand these over to Sikh organizations and they put out those appeals. But the unfortunate fact is that by the time anything could be done, this man was dead as well. Now you see some videos and some pictures of this man too. It looks like when he was being beaten, he was being questioned, he said nothing. And it is possible that maybe he was a petty thief, or maybe he was a drug addict. Looks like he was not from Punjab, but again, we don't know anything. So just from the investigation point of view, or demystifying this point of view, now if there is a deeper plot behind this of causing communal discord in Punjab, or causing dissensions in Punjab, or anger in Punjab, then if all those who are caught in this situation are lynched to death, how will anybody find out who had sent them, what was the issue, etc., etc.? Those questions rise. And second, I will add a little bit of opinion in today's CutTheClutter also towards the later half of my presentation. But the fact is that to catch a thief, or to catch anybody who causes any offense to anybody and lynch them to death is no solution, because if that goes on, then we can't question the Taliban, we can't question, say, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan for lynching that Sri Lankan manager. Then you are leaving it to the mobs and mob justice, and that is very dangerous, because when this has happened, say, with people who've lynched, say, Muslims on suspicion of cow smuggling or beef eating, we've all protested saying that you cannot do these things. You have to report whatever you think is against the law. You have to report it to the police and let law take its course. So let's understand what's going on in Punjab. Now, on 15th of October, not that far back, just 2 months back, we had seen one more such incident at Singhu border, where the protesting farmers were stationed. That's where a group of Nihangs had allegedly lynched, in fact caught, tortured, cut off the limbs and then killed another young man called Lakhbir Singh. Lakhbir Singh, a Dalit Sikh, and he was left to die like that, tortured, with his limbs cut off, on the charge or suspicion that he was causing sacrilege to a book which is holy to the Nihangs. It is not the Guru Granth Sahib, it is called Sarb Loh Granth. And I had then done a full CutTheClutter on this tradition of the Nihangs on Sarb Loh Granth, of which I will share a link with you. You can see that. Now those cases are going on. But Punjab, and I've discovered this now thanks to Chitleen, and there's a story by Chitleen which I'm sharing with you, which you should read it, on the concept of beadbi or sacrilege in Sikhism, that Punjab has the highest per capita incidence of blasphemy/sacrilege cases being registered in India. It's not millions of cases, but if you calculate in terms of percentage as or per capita or as percentage of population, Punjab is the highest in the country. So there are 3 sections of IPC, Indian Penal Code, written 1860 by the British, which have provisions which could be like ranging between blasphemy and sacrilege. Now you might ask me, what is the difference between blasphemy and sacrilege? And truth to tell, because I anticipated that will be the question in your mind, I realized that even I did not know the difference. So I actually read up. So the difference is, blasphemy is when you insult somebody's religious beliefs or a religion or God or gods or scriptures by way of your speech, writing, cartooning, etc., etc., etc. Sacrilege is when somebody does some physical damage or causes physical offense to a place of worship, to objects which are considered sacred. Both concepts come originally from Christianity. So when the British put this into the Indian law, they did so thinking that India is a multi-religious country, and one religion will offend the other, and there will be constantly trouble going on. So it's better to put some of these laws in the statute book and then to implement them strictly. Britain also had some law like that, which was actually like treason against God, right? That law was abolished in 2008 and rarely used, but abolished in 2008. So in India, 1860, this was put in. And in fact, speaking in British Parliament, Thomas Babington Macaulay, no less. He had said, and this is a quote from him that Chitlian has put in her story. He said, if I were a judge in India, I should have no scruples about punishing a Christian who should pollute a mosque, right? Then this was strengthened. So this law was like 295. This was strengthened by adding another subsection to it, 295A. 295A was added in 1927. 1927 was when the infamous Rangila Rasool case took place. This was somebody who wrote a book called Rangila Rasool, which was seen as insulting the holy prophet of the Muslims. The man was assassinated. His assassin was hanged. In fact, at his funeral, Allama Iqbal himself was present. So that became quite a complicated case. So after that, one more element was added, and that element was 295A. Now 295A, the difference between say 295 and 295A is a bit like difference between blasphemy and sacrilege. So 295A was considered a more serious offense and drew a 3-year jail sentence, whereas 295 had a 2-year jail sentence. These are the laws that exist on the statute right now. Now, if you see all the defense of the lynchings coming in from Punjab, defense not to say we did the right thing by lynching, but basically saying that people get angry, people are frustrated, Sikhs are frustrated. They are doing this because there have been many incidents in the past where these laws have been found inadequate. Government has been able to do nothing, and that's why we think, because government either is not able to do anything under these laws. In any case, if they do something, 2 years, 3 years is no sentence for causing injury to our holy book, which is the living embodiment of our gurus, right? So what is 2 years, 3 years? It should at least be life sentence or something like that. So Punjab Assembly has twice passed a law. In 2015 under the Akali BJP government, and 2018 under Amrinder Singh government, taking this sentence to 20 years. So when it was first passed by Punjab Assembly, titled 295AA, it said that any insult to the Gurus or Guru Granth Sahib will draw a 20-year sentence. That law did not get the President's assent. It was sent back by the center to the state, saying that this violates the secular system in India. You cannot have this law like this that protects one religion or one religion's feelings like this. Amrinder Singh in 2018 made what he thought was a further improvement on this law, and then he again passed a law giving the same sentence, prescribing the same sentence for anybody insulting or causing offense to the holy books and the holy places and holy objects of any religion, not just Sikhism. That too has not found the center's approval. Now the original law, 295, that's been challenged in the Supreme Court in a famous case called Ramji Lal Modi versus State of UP in 1957. And a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court had held 295, section 295 of IPC as legal within the constitution. So that debate has been settled. India has a blasphemy/sacrilege law, although a lot of people might think that it is too mild. The other grievance that the Sikhs have is, devout Sikhs have, is that too many people who are caught doing this, they then claim insanity, and on that plea, police lets them go. That is why nobody gets punished. And that is what people who were beating up this guy in Kapurthala also said, that if we hand him over to the police, in the course of time, police will say, ye pagal hai, he was insane, and let him go, and this time we will not accept it. Now, I told you early on that Punjab has the highest element of sacrilege cases. So, first of all, I'll give you a little data. So, generally in Punjab, the average in terms of percentage of population is 0.7, while all over India it ranges between 0.1 to 0.4. It's only since 2016 that NCRB started giving us data of cases registered under these provisions of sacrilege and blasphemy. Now 2018 Punjab's percentage was 0.7, 2019 it was 0.6, and 2020 it was 0.4. 5. So it was still the highest. In 2017 though, Goa was the highest at 0.8, but Goa, given its very small population base, even if there are a few cases in some year, that can skew the ratio. That's why we always keep telling you, always look at both the absolutes and the percentages. So to draw percentages from Goa with its 18 lakh population can be misleading. Again, between 2017 and 2020, that is because it's only since 2017 that NCRB has been giving us data on sacrilege cases. Punjab has had 721 sacrilege cases registered. That's a lot of cases. Now, what's happening is that in the devout Sikh community and religious leadership, there is no condemnation of the killing. There is condemnation of what is called the sacrilege, and that is what all political parties have done also. And this manner, in this hypocrisy, they've all been sort of secular, if I may use that expression. So Congress, BJP, Akali Dal, Amrinder Singh, who's now formed a new party, Aam Aadmi Party, and everybody has said that a thorough investigation should be carried out to find out who's behind this plot to destabilize Punjab. But nobody has said a word against lynchings. In fact, Navjot Singh Sidhu, tape has now emerged of Navjot Singh Sidhu saying that anybody who insults any religion should be hanged in public. That is Taliban-esque. Anybody who follows that process, or anybody who thinks that's a good idea, should never say anything against the Taliban tomorrow, or against even methods used by the Islamic State, because it's the same methods. It is not the way any civilized system delivers justice. It's not a system of the laws, it's a system of the mob. Chitlian has spoken to many authoritative voices among the Sikh clergy as well as Sikh scholars. She's spoken, for example, to the new SGPC president. SGPC is Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, which manages all the key Gurdwaras in the country, the most important Gurdwaras, and is an elected body. So the new SGPC chief, Harjinder Singh Dhami, he said that, look, there is a great deal of insecurity among the Sikhs because these incidents have been happening and nobody who's been charged or caught has been punished for this. Similarly, Gyani Harmeet Singh, who's the head priest of the Akal Takht. Akal Takht is the highest spiritual and temporal seat, highest seat of spiritual and temporal power of the Sikhs. Akal Takht actually issues hukamnamas, or like ecclesiastical bulls or encyclicals that say the Pope issues at the Vatican, and those are then binding on the entire Sikh community. So the head priest of the Akal Takht also says that, look, Guru Granth Sahib is a living guru, so nobody can treat it in any manner which is disrespectful, and if it is treated in a disrespectful manner, people will get angry. Now, the scholar she's spoken to, Professor Dharam Singh, was a former professor of Sikh studies at Punjab University in Patiala and also editor-in-chief of a publication called Encyclopedia of Sikhism. He said, look, what is sacrilege? All Gurdwara items, all the items used in prayer, not just the Guru Granth Sahib, they are all sacred, and if you mess with any of that, that amounts to sacrilege. Similarly, Sikh historian Gurdarshan Singh Dhillon, he says that, look, Shri Guru Granth Sahib is the Sache Padsha. Sache Padsha means the real Lord, the true Lord. So it is in the same form and has the same stature as that of a living Guru. Again, don't mess with it. She's also spoken with Bhai Ranjit Singh, former Akal Takht chief, who said, look, this is not a book. This is like a human being. Unless you understand that, you will not be able to understand why Sikhs get so angry. This Bhai Ranjit Singh, by the way, he was convicted for the assassination. Among those who were convicted for the assassination of Baba Gurbachan Singh, then head of the Nirankari sect. Now that itself had to do with some of this sacrilege controversy, because the Nirankari sect was founded in 1951 by Baba Avtar Singh, who apparently or allegedly declared himself to be like another guru, or was seen to be pretending to be yet another guru. Now in conservative Sikhism, nobody can be a new guru, because after the 10th, the Granth is the guru. So his successor, Baba Gurbachan Singh, he was killed And the trouble in Punjab in the 80s, which went on till 93, started with that incident. It was on the Baisakhi day of 1978 when the Nirankaris were holding a samagam or a congregation in Amritsar, and an unknown religious preacher called Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, his followers went to attack or went to protest or whatever at this congregation. Then people inside the congregation who were armed because they were expecting trouble, they fired, and 13, 14 of the people who had come to protest, Bhindranwale's people, they got killed. And that sparked that maelstrom in Punjab, which lasted more than 15 years. So once again, you don't want any replication of anything like that. In fact, after that, the Akal Takht had also issued an encyclical or a hukamnama or ecclesiastical bull, if you follow the Christian tradition, saying that no Sikh will have any relationship of roti beti. That means no Sikh will have any social relationship, social, personal, family relationship within the Nirankari. Now, what's happened in Punjab last week has a background. In June 2017, in Faridkot district from the Gurdwara, beads, which is a kind of form of Guru Granth Sahib, those were stolen. Some pages were found here and there. Around that time, there were also some cases of sacrilege of the Quran, the Holy Quran, and the Holy Bhagavad Gita. So it looked like whoever was causing this trouble, that person or that power or that body was not secular. They just wanted every faith to be set up against every faith. So this was an effort to destabilize Punjab. That went on into the election campaign that year. In the election campaign, Amrinder Singh made it a very big issue that there have been these incidents of sacrilege, and Akali Dal government, BJP Akali Dal government has done nothing about it. Now he promised to bring these culprits to book, and he came to power. This was one of the promises that got him a lot of votes. But for 4.5 years or so that he's been in power, he's done very little on this. In fact, if anything, he's stalled on this. And a suspicion has grown among devout Sikhs that he's doing it because possibly, quote unquote, allegedly, or as they believe, that these sacrilege incidents were caused by some of the followers of the Deras that we've spoken about in the past, particularly the Dera of Guru Ram Rahim, who's currently serving multiple life sentences in jail. And because those Deras control a lot of votes, Amrinder Singh and his government did not want to go after them. Now, as Chinese government has come in, they've gone and questioned the Baba in his jail near Rohtak. So I hope it makes us understand what's happening in Punjab, what has happened in Punjab, and what it might lead to in case wiser counsels don't prevail now a little bit better. Having said that, there is also the debate on do you have the right to offend? And because I told you, I'll also give you my opinion on this. So there is no clearer expression of my opinion than this 50-word editorial that we published this morning on ThePrint.in. So we write our editorials, we make our editorials very short and snappy, because what is an editorial? Editorial is making a point. And I think if you can make your point in a tweet, you can also make a point in 50 words, because that is about the maximum length that a tweet can accommodate. Why should we inflict 500 words of gyan on you?